Mark.
And
Lionel.
Mark, can you hear Lionel?
I can. Lionel, nice to have a chat.
Man, are you kidding me? I am on a roll. I am having the best time, of course, in Australia. You know, with the family reunion here in Australia. I'm loving it.
Yes. Now, I just noticed this that you got up on. You're there for The Voice, aren't you?
I'm here for The Voice and promo for Tuskegee, but it's also that the entire family is down here. When I say that, I mean Nicole, the grandkids, and Joel. It's perfect.
And Joel, I understand that you had a duet with Joel on The Voice last night. Is that right?
He was on fire, and he had me so laughing so hard. He said, "Why am I so nervous?" And I said, "Joel, you can't be nervous. Relax. We know each other." He says, "No, I know you as the guy at the house, but I don't know you as the guy on the stage." It was funny.
One thing has come through this series, because we see The Voice here in New Zealand, is Joel Madden's personality, and people are really warming to him.
Now you get to know the guy that I fell in love with when he walked into that house for the first time, you know, and all fathers have a different view of Prince Charming, the guy who's going to take their daughter away. And, of course, when Joel Madden walked in, I must tell you that was not exactly the look I had in mind. But instantly, he opened his mouth, and that personality jumped out. And I think that you all are now experiencing the guy that I fell in love with.
Are you a fan of that type of program, the Idol talent show?
I must tell you, it makes me so nervous. I can't watch some of them all the time because I put myself as an artist in front of them. You know, in other words, you know, can you imagine, let's just use a name. Let's use James Brown, for example. Can you imagine James Brown trying to sing somebody else's song? It doesn't work. Or can you imagine Barbara Streisand or I'll give you Whitney Houston singing, and all of a sudden you turn around and go, Whitney, that performance that you just did was terrible. I mean, Whitney may never sing again.
That's right.
You know, it's just that what I worry about most of all is that we're preparing these kids to go out to sing professionally, knowing that, you know, I am now 40 years still trying to get it right. They did it in 8 weeks, and they're calling them superstars. And I'm going, guys, you know, don't get fooled by that. That's a tough road to drop off on. You know,
they've got to do the hard yards.
They've got to do the hard yards. And by the way, it's not a wonderful ride, because it's bumpy. It's bumpy, and what we've just done is introduce them to 40 million people saying you're wonderful, and then we leave them alone for about 15 minutes and they fall off the cliff. I mean, you know, it's really a very tough business.
I thought that was illustrated perfectly in your Tuskegee album with Shania Twain. He was a star who'd done so many hit records, and yet I've seen the video of her and you recording in the Caribbean, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
And she was really nervous.
Not only nervous, but it had convinced herself that she could never sing again. And I told her, I said, wait a minute now, you know, what we both have in common here is that we're both scared to death. And she looked at me and she said, you can't be scared to death. You're Lionel Richie. And I said, and you're Shania Twain. I said, but there's a point in life that you have to understand. We're egotistical maniacs with inferiority complexes. And each day we're children. And you have to understand, what you have to do with a child is constantly say, good for you. Here we go. Let's try it again. Good for you. Let's try it again. Good for you. Well, let's take those award shows. I mean, the shows that you were just talking about, the amateur shows. Can you imagine having Shania Twain on one of those shows and you tell her, I don't like that performance you just did?
Yeah, well, I know there have been a number of people who've been auditioning for those types of shows and have failed miserably, and then gone on to big careers by just working through the clubs and building up.
Well, what I say to all of them, I hope you lose. And they look at me going, what do you mean I hope I lose? I said, I hope you lose, because now you have the experience of the ups and downs of the business to continue to get it right, opposed to tomorrow saying you're a superstar, and now you have to be perfect tomorrow. That's the most difficult thing in the world. Is I'm now a superstar. Tomorrow morning I have to act like one and sound like one and make it work. It's impossible.
Now, Tuskegee as a town itself, I think about 11,000 people. It must have been quite tough growing up in a town like that in Southern America, you know, as a black young American.
It was actually just the opposite. It was an interesting little bubble, if you will. Remember, in the early days of the South, segregation was in. And Tuskegee was a university campus, a university. It was a university town. And so when segregation was in, all the PhDs, all the doctors, all the lawyers were in these hubs called Tuskegee or Nashville or Howard University in Washington, D.C. These were all predominantly black universities. Well, I grew up on the campus of this university, and, for example, who did I have with me on the campus? The Tuskegee Airmen were there. You follow me? Now, just imagine right after, during World War II, of course, I wasn't born yet, but right after that, you just imagine every black guy on the campus had an airplane. So there's Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, and Air Explorer Scouts, that kind of thing. The next thing was the educational standards were incredible, even though 5 miles down the road was the lap of the Confederacy and the Klan and everything. Well, Tuskegee is where I grew up and met the Commodores and went to school with the Commodores and wrote all the songs there. So that's why I had to call this album Tuskegee instead of calling it Nashville. It had to be Tuskegee.
Yes. And country music, of course, that's what you grew up with, I suppose, a bit of gospel music and the church music.
Well, it was the melting pot. Everything was there. Gospel music, R&B music was there, pop music was there. Country was radio. There's no doubt about it. It was no pop radio. It was called country.
And that music has related so well. It's translated so well, isn't it, with the country stars? It's given them a whole new dimension.
Well, I must tell you, I was quite shocked to find out that throughout my career, how many country artists actually knew every lyric to my songs. In fact, when I told the story that 3 Times a Lady was covered by Conway Twitty, 4 weeks after I put out 3 Times a Lady, Conway Twitty covered 3 Times a Lady.
And that did well?
Well, it was the #1 song for Conway Twitty. How about that?
And this, of course, has been a #1 album for Lionel Richie. So well done on that one.
I must tell you, it has broken all barriers for me. There's only one other guy who's done this kind of success where an R&B artist crossed over the country, and that was Ray Charles. So I'm in good company.
You're in great company, and I understand that you've got a birthday on Wednesday. How do you celebrate 63 years on the planet?
Oh my God! You know how you do it. You go find your kids, you go find your grandkids, you go sit down in the backyard, get a glass of wine, and say hallelujah. Because it's one of those things. I'm so blessed, and I'm enjoying the ride, and of course, to watch these kids run around and talk about how old they think I am, that just doesn't help me at all. But other than that, I'm doing great.
You're the youngest. What are you, granddad or grandy? Or what?
They call me Pop.
Pop. I love it.
P.O.P. So I'm going to go and chase them around the yard and actually play the part very well.
And so how long have you got in Australia?
I'm actually here for one more day and then back home. So just as I'm getting used to Australia, it's time to go back to L.A. But I must tell you, I'm coming back here. I love it down here. This is a slow version of the big city of Los Angeles. I love it here.
Well, we certainly enjoyed your company here when you were here a couple of years ago in Auckland, and we certainly hope that you'll make the return visit.
I must tell you, Auckland, New Zealand, I tell my story about Auckland. I remember one day I got there and the water was so beautiful and the air was so crisp. And I remember I ran out because I wanted to go swimming, and I ran out and jumped into this lake. and everybody looked at me as if I were crazy. And, of course, as soon as I hit the water, I knew why no one was coming in behind me. The water was 25 below zero. I mean, it was the coldest water I'd ever been in my life.
You got to make sure you come in summertime.
Just as I hit the water, the guy said, "Welcome to New Zealand, Lionel." I said, "Thank you very much."
Lionel, could I just get you to do one or two of those little, "Hi, I'm Lionel Richie"?
Sure.
I do a show on a Sunday night called Breeze Country. So
Breeze Country.
I play a lot of your music, your Tuskegee album on there. So this is Lionel Richie. You're listening to Breeze Country or something like that. Got
it.
Yep.
You got it.
And if you could do that one first, and I'll get you to do one more if you don't mind.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Hi, this is let me do it.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Lionel Richie, and you're listening to Breeze Country.
And you could add, this is Lionel Richie, Breeze Country, and here's another track from my new album, Tuskegee.
Great. Hi, this is Lionel Richie, and you're listening to Breeze Country, and here's another track from my new album, Tuskegee.
Great. And then if you could just add my name at the end of one, that'd be great. Mark Leishman.
Mark Eastman.
Leishman.
There we go.
Leash as a dog leash.
Oh.
Leishman.
Oh, Leishman.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, here we go. Hi, this is Lionel Richie, and you're listening to Mark Leishman
On Breeze Country.
on Breeze Country.
You're a genius. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
I'm glad you spliced that together for me, thank God.
I can.
Trying to say Breeze Country and Mark Leishman in the same sentence. There you go.
Hey, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
All right, man.
And look forward
Thank you
to seeing
so
you
much,
here again.
man. We'll see you soon.
Okay, bud.
Thanks, Mark.
Okay, baby.
Thank you, Brendan.
Bye-bye now.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Hey, Lionel, thanks so much. That's all we need for you today, so I'll let you get on
We're
with
rolling.
Australia.
We're rolling.
Perfect.
But they're standing here looking at me going with the whip going back into the cage, Lionel.
Another cup of coffee, mate. Another cup of coffee.
There we go. All right, take care. I'm going to give it back over to you. Hold on.